minutes of quality Jersey chat. Go, go, go. It's like, oh, it's like one of those, you know, like have I got news for you? It's like no repetition and, oh, I've failed. You're not meant to, what is it? Repetition and, Mum, you know this. What is it? Sorry, I have it on cue. No repetition. Deviation and, what's the other one?
Repetition, deviation, or maybe it's just repetition.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to hit the buzzer anyway, so this is terrible chat so far.
I'm struggling with the Instagram. There we go. The Instagram sometimes doesn't want to play. There we go. We're boom. All right, guys. Good morning. I don't even know where the cameras are anymore. We've got a jazzy new setup. It's slowly getting de-cameraed, so still very exciting. Like I said, not really sure where I'm looking. So yeah, welcome on into Pilates 9. Yeah, Pilates this morning. New power is tonight. If you haven't heard me say, 3,000 times already, I'm a little bit excited. So we've got brand new power starting this evening at 6:30, and then that'll be followed by a lovely chill. Oh, I'm just going to let in Flora. So if you're joining us on Facebook or Instagram, you can also jump over to rise.co.uk/online, and then you can jump into your our Zoom room. That means I get to see you here and here, which is really nice. Get to say hello, see how you're doing. How are you guys? Good. Awesome. So, we're getting started in 22 seconds. So let's come on down and get started today in a wide leg child's pose. So we're going to start off down on our mats. So starting to bring the knees out wide towards the edges of the mat, big toes together, hips down towards the heels. And starting to stretch the spine long out in front of you. So you're all super welcome on in today to Pilates. So this is Pilates. Now I'm going to start off with the plank sequence, come up to some balance work, down to seated in core. Just starting off by finding the breath. Starting to slow down the breath. Really deep, full inhales. And exhales. So feeling the chest sink through the arms, the spine extend. The hips sink down towards the heels. And just taking a few more really deep breaths in and out, feeling that breath in the back body and the spine. Taking one more really deep breath in and out here. And then from there, starting to ground down with the hands, roll on up and finding your way to a table pose. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, thinking about spreading the fingers out really wide, grounding down into the fingertips, into the second knuckle, squeezing in the abdominals. So remember, Pilates, we're aiming to find a nice strong core and a long spine. So thinking about the crown of the head reaching forwards, squeezing in the abdominals. Notice if you stand, stick your bum in the air, find a slight tuck of the tailbone perhaps, feel the shoulder blades come apart. Just take one deep breath in. And out here, and then trying to maintain that long spine, tucking the toes and lifting the knees off the mat, finding your way into plank. So plank, hands out underneath the shoulders. You might want to shuffle the feet back a little bit and you'll feel the glutes and the quads start to engage. Think about pressing the floor away from you with the hands, and again you're finding that sense of length. So crown of head reaching forward, squeezing in the core. Notice where the bum is. So sometimes we pike the hips to make it a little bit easier, or sometimes we can end up dropping the hips. You want to try and find that nice long position, hips somewhere around the shoulder height. Working here for just one more breath, inhaling, exhaling. And then from there, starting to pike the hips, walk the hands back towards the feet, and bending the knees if you need to, finding your way into a floppy forward fold. If you want to have a little pedal out there, a little shake out, a little wiggle from side to side, have a play. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. If you just take the hands to the back of the head and be really easy here, bring the chin to the chest and slowly start to curve through the spine. You'll start to find a really nice full stretch that comes right down from the upper back into the neck. Make sure you're not taking it too far, just gently finding that little bit of space through the upper back. Taking one breath in and up. And from there, bending the knees if you need to. Walk the hands out in front of you, keeping the core engaged. Walking the hands all the way forwards, finding your way to a high plank. pressing the floor away from you, and then squeezing the core, hiking the hips, and starting to walk the hands back towards the feet, and just working there. So we're taking our little plank walkouts. Remember, you don't have to walk all the way out. You can walk to more of this dog type position. If you're feeling it, you can walk all the way to plank. If you're feeling it today, maybe have a go coming into an extended plank. So this is when the hands come right out in front of the body, and as you're probably starting to see is going on with me, you start to get a bit of a shake on the core. It's quite a strong one. Do just be mindful, don't want to strain the lower back, just walking out and in at your own pace, starting to build some heat in the body, starting to find some strength in the arms. So really notice what's going on in the hands. Make sure you've got that full distribution of weight from fingertips and both sides of the hands. You're pressing really hard with the hands into the mat. Taking one more walk forwards, so walk it out forwards in front of you. And when you're ready, dropping to the knees, finding your way to a table pose. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Thinking about spreading the fingers out really wide, grounding down with the fingertips, engaging the core, and finding your way back into a table pose. From here, we're straight into our Superman. So remember, we're extending the right hand and the left foot out, squeezing in the core, and then really slowly, carefully returning back to center, taking it the other side. So thinking about trying to keep the spine perfectly still as you do this. If you don't want to fully lift, you can just take an extension, so just let that hand and foot reach out long on the mat, but you can keep them the foot mat stay grounded. If you want to make it harder, you're extending and taking a knee to nose drive, squeezing in the core, extending and resetting. So thinking about working there, thinking about that squeeze of the core, and then driving in knee to nose, extend and reset. So keeping the spine long, working there. We're thinking about finding strength in the core. We're trying to stabilize the spinal position as we move through this asymmetric movement. If, of course, you want to take it further, you can pop up into a plank and take the same movement from plank. So lifting up opposite hand and foot, really focusing on that strong core, maintaining that stability. Take it slow, take it easy. If you're feeling super powerful this morning, you might take a little knee drive and reset, but do just remember working at your level, just starting to find that strength through the upper body or through the core. Just going to work here for another 5, so slow and controlled. 4, thinking about finding that squeeze of the glutes. 3, well done. 2, and 1. Come back to the knees if you've come up into plank, and we're finding our way to kneeling. So finding your way back to a nice kneeling position, thinking about finding that strong core. We're going to bring the hands to the knees, engaging the core, roll the shoulders back. From there, we're going to inhale, reach up, open out through the chest, draw the shoulders back, squeezing in the core, and then really slowly return back down. So here we're thinking about getting into the glutes and the quads. So it's an inhale, peeling up, squeeze the core. Feel the core engage, squeeze the glutes, open out through the chest, and then slowly, slowly, slowly roll on back there. Nice work. So this is all about finding strength in the glutes, and we're mobilizing here. So we're starting to feel that lovely stretch through the chest, opening out through the shoulders, and squeeze, 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 power up, squeeze the glutes, open out through the heart, stretching out there. Nice work. So just working here for another 3, just nice and easy, stretching up. Make sure you've got that sense of the muscles that are working. It's quite a simple movement, but we're aiming to find control. So working on that mobility, stretching out. 2, 1 more, little squeeze and stretch, opening out. Nice work. And 1, nice job. From there, walking forwards, finding your way back into your plank position, hands underneath the shoulders, pressing the hands really hard into the mat, squeezing in the core, and from there we're going to find a little panther pose. So hands press hard into the mat, knees are going to hover off the mat, and we're finding a little panther pose. So holding there. If you're feeling strong today, take a little bend of the elbows, and we're going to take a little panther pulse. So a little variation of our bolt today. You can either hold your panther, knees are hovering an inch or so off the mat, and if you want to rest, just set them down. Should feel the quads on fire. If you want to add in some little extra work, we're just letting the elbows bend out. So it's a little like a panther press up. This one's really aiming to fire up the quads. So quads, as you probably know by now, really important muscle to strengthen. We're getting into the core, into the lower back here. So we're just going to pulse or hold your panther here. We're thinking about finding that strength in the core, that long spine. Make sure you're pressing really hard with the hands into the mat, opening out, feeling the shoulder blades come apart. Perfect. Just going to work here for 10, 9, hang on in there, squeeze the core, focus on the breath, keep the spine long, 7, 6, almost there, 5, 4, hang on in there, 3, 2, and 1, dropping down to the knees there. Left hand plants, inhale, the right hand sweeps up to the sky, stretching up, and take a quick little shoulder stretch, right shoulder down onto the mat, left hand out in front of you. Just stretching out, a little bit of a breath there, not too long, just a quick little stretch. One more inhale, and exhale. Coming back through center, and plant that right hand down, inhale, left hand reaches up, opening out through the chest, and again a quick little stretch, left shoulder coming down to the mat, right hand coming out in front of you, deep breaths in, and down. So we're stretching out through that left shoulder, just one more deep inhale, and exhale. From there we're going to come down to a forearm plank, so finding your way into a forearm plank, elbows into the mat, squeezing in the core, and from there we're going to take a knee drive in our forearm plank. So we're squeezing in the core, finding a sense of driving the knee in towards the chest. If you want to, you can just hold your forearm plank. If you can, we're squeezing in the core. Try to keep the hips low as you drive the knee into the chest. So really focus on that strength in the core. Try not to pike the hips. Keep the elbows pressing into the mat. So we're strengthening the shoulders and the abdominals here. So you can hold your forearm plank. Remember, if you just need to drop to the knees in your forearm plank, just drop them down, but make sure they're fairly far away from the elbows so you maintain that length in the spine, and you can continue to work the abdominals. Just going to work here for another 5 with control, squeeze, 4, keeping that crown of the head long. Make sure the shoulder blades are coming apart, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up to plank and dropping to the knees, table pose. Okay, one more little plank-based exercise, and then we're going to come up to standing. So make sure your fingers are spread out wide, the core is engaged, long through the spine. From there, we're lifting the left foot up, and we're going to move the left foot forward, squeezing in the core, and return back through center. So we're taking a lateral movement. So you're thinking about squeezing the outer glutes, kicking forwards, and back again. If you want to take it down a level, you can just slide that left foot along the floor, and back again. You'll get loads of work there as well. So taking 5 on one side, and then switching over to the other. So just thinking about lifting up, trying to keep the spine long, try to keep both hands pressing hard into the mat. If you want to come down to the forearms here, you're very welcome to. The idea is we're getting it into the outer glute, into the waist. We're keeping the spine long, moving with control. So really slow it down, feel that power. So just switching over when you've done 5. Remember, if you want to take it further again, you can mirror the movement of the hand, of the leg with a hand. Really nice way to add a little bit of extra balance work into this move. Keeping the core engaged, the spine long. Deep breaths in and out. So think about the spine is being supported by that strong squeeze of the abdominals. You're working into the outer glute. So final side. So swapping over, finding whatever variation you're working on, thinking about that long spine, thinking about that strong core, working with control. Another 3. So try to keep that stability, try to hang on in there. 2, nice work. One more little movement, working to the outer glute, super important for knees. And 1, find your way back to a table pose. Hands underneath the shoulders, tucking the toes, and finding your way into a plank. From there, nice and easy, you're just going to walk the hands and feet closer together. So we're finding our way into a little floppy forward fold, a little stretch, having a little wiggle from side to side. So you could have a big deep bend in the knees here if you need to. It can be nice to maybe stretch out one leg, stretch out the other, let the head and the shoulders relax. Really find that sense of elongating the spine. The tailbone is lifting, the spine is stretching down, relaxing down, head and shoulders release. Taking a deep full breath in and out. And from there, engaging the core, starting to roll all the way up to standing vertebra by vertebra. Feel the core engaged, shoulders down the back at the top. Awesome stuff, nice work. So we're finding our way up to standing. Thinking about the feet facing forwards, the core is engaged, the glutes are engaged, shoulders down the back. Awesome stuff. So we're going to work into a nice little balance here. So we're just going to inhale, float up high on the toes, letting the arms lift as well, keeping the shoulders down. Remember the core and the glutes are engaged, and then we're slowly lowering down. So nice and easy, just floating up on the toes, inhaling, rolling up, squeezing the glutes, and rolling down again, shoulders relax. Perfect. Just working here for another 3. Little lift and lower. 2, so keeping that core engaged, that spine long, shoulders relaxed. Perfect. 1 more little lift, just floating up, practicing balance, starting to feel into that strength, and release. Nice job. All right, let's move into our little squat and optional twist. So feet are turning slightly out, about 30 degrees, core is engaged, fingertips to temples. So remember, we're opening out through the chest here. The core is engaged. Make sure you've got that sense of strength in the legs. And we're going to sink the bum down behind us. So if you have a look at what's going on here, just turn around so you can see. The knees are over the ankles, and we're sending the butt out behind us. We don't want, keeping the chest fairly lifted. So just work into your level. So we're going to sink down low, and then squeeze, feel that power on the way up. So I want you to really focus on the muscles of the abdominals here. So thinking about sinking down low, and then feel that squeeze of the glutes and the abs as you come on up. So remember, Pilates, we're taking quite a lot of simple movements, but it's really effective because we've got that muscular awareness. We're moving with control. Thinking about opening out through the chest here as well. So slow and squeezy. Option to stay here. Option to add in a little twist. So we're going to squeeze, and then from the bottom of that squat, we're lifting opposite elbow to knee, squeezing in the core, working into the abdominals, into the obliques, and then we're sinking down again, squeeze, lift, and rotate. So a really nice way to mobilize the lower back as well, taking these little rotations. We're thinking about squeezing, working through the side body. Nice stuff. So spine is long, core is engaged. We're rotating, really focusing on power, on control in that rotation. If you want to take it further again, we're squeezing, rotating. At that point, we're going to extend the arms and the legs, so we're finding an open twist, a kick forwards, strong work for the balance, return, and see if you can set that foot down as silently as you can. So really focus on control here. Make it as slow as you can, squeezing the core. So when we come up to standing, remember the quad and the glute need to engage, finding strength in that standing leg, almost like you're lifting up the kneecap. When you extend, try not to lean backwards and use the muscles of the abdominals to maintain that balance. Really carefully return back through center and sinking down low. So just working at your own pace. Remember, you can just squat. You can take a squat and crunch, or you could open it out wide. Entirely up to you. Nice work. Working here for just another 5. So we're working on moving balance. Balances are a fantastic way to build strength in the abdominals. Balance is all about the core muscles. Also thinking about the lower body, the legs here. Thinking about engaging that quad, lifting up that kneecap, squeezing the glutes. Lower body, again, we focus a lot on the core when we think about spinal health, but lower body also a really important part of that. So weak glutes, tight hamstrings can really contribute towards lumbar spine's pain. Lumbar, that's the one. So just think about that here. 1 more here. And then set down, release. Great job. Give yourself a little roll, little stretch. And from there, we're going to move into our lateral lunge. So we're going to start off in the center of our mats. From there, you're stepping out wide, sinking the hips down behind you. Again, you want to avoid the knee moving too far past the ankle. We're finding a deep stretch down the inside of that extended leg, squeezing in the core, hips out behind us, trying to keep a little lift in the chest. Stepping back to center, and then we're taking it out. So the hands can come out in front of you, the core is engaged. Really focus on that power. When you move back through center, this standing leg has to do quite a lot of work to lift. So if you imagine slowing it down, you're stepping out wide, you're squeezing in the core, and then you're carefully returning through center. So we're staying there. Or if you want to take it further, we're stepping out wide, squeezing, and we're going to tap, and we can take a knee drive. So again, we're adding in a little bit of balance there. You can turn that into one movement. So we're taking it out wide, squeezing, driving up. And we're taking that moving balance, one fluid movement. So we're just going to squeeze and drive, set up. So sinking down, squeeze, drive, squeeze that core, and reset. So working there with control. So if you want to take it further again, you can take a double. So we're going to lift that knee, step out wide, back into that lunge, lift that knee, step out wide, so you're not setting that foot down, you're taking it a few more sets, and then take that on the other side. So we step out wide, take our lateral lunge, move straight into the knee drive, and instead of setting that foot down there, we then, with control, step again back into that lateral lunge, squeeze the core, so we're staying a bit longer in that balance, one more, and then we can return to center. So working at your level, whatever suits you. We're thinking about finding some nice heat in the body. We're finding a little bit of strength in the legs, a little bit of flexibility as well. Remember, the core is your powerhouse here. This is what's going to support this knee drive. Again, we're taking a sort of standing crunch type movement, and we're working into this standing leg. So loads of options, just work at your level. We're thinking about that strength. Really nice to take lateral movements. A lot of life, we are in very much a forward pattern. So thinking about working in these sideways movements, really beneficial for muscular balance. So just, finishing off so you're even on both sides. Finding that squeeze of the core. Remember, the shoulders are staying down. If you're getting tired, really focus on that posture, that strength. And when you're ready, give yourself a little shake out, a little wiggle out, come back to center. If you need to take a bit of time, finish off, make sure you're not walking that wonky, feel free. And then from there, we're just going to roll on down and find our way back to a plank. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, squeezing in the core, and finding our way to plank. So just one more quick little plank exercise. We're going to take a rotating side plank. So thinking about lifting up with one hand, stretching up, squeezing in the core, returning through center, stretching up, and returning through center, really focusing on that strength of the core, opening out through the chest. If that's not for you, we're finding a table pose, hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to rotate with control open. One knee stays grounded, the other leg is, foot is grounded, so we've got hip above hip, shoulder above shoulder. We hang out there, we're thinking about enjoying our side planks, and then coming back through center. So knees underneath the hips, rotating, opening up, finding that balance, thinking about pressing that bottom hand down, hip above hip, shoulder above shoulder. Hold for a little while, return through center. So either just taking a static kneeling side plank and working there, or maybe taking that little moving side plank, squeezing in the core, really nice opening movement for the chest, rotating through the spine, just a little transition for 3. Well done. We're going to move to some seated work after this. 2. And 1, great job. Come back to kneeling, and from there just swinging both legs out in front of you. So just going to take a quick little stretch, starting off with nice and easy little isolated hamstring stretch. You're extending your left leg out towards the front of the mat. The right foot is coming into the left inner thigh. Thinking about flexing that left foot. Inhale, reaching up, angling the body over that left leg, and we start to take a forward fold. Thinking about maybe shimmying that left foot out behind you, stretching out long. So if you're feeling a little bit tight, much like I am today, it might be that sitting upright is your pose. This is your stretch. You're just working here. It might be that you're able to inhale, exhale, comfortably fold forwards, but don't feel like you've got to push it. The muscle groups we're aiming to recruit here are we're aiming to stretch out the hamstrings. If you feel like you're lifting the quad slightly, so almost like you're lifting the kneecap, that's going to help there. Thinking about trying to keep the shoulders soft, and we're also aiming to get into the lower back. So inhale, use that inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. From there, feel the body weight move forwards and then downwards. So we're stretching into the back of that hamstring for 3, inhaling. Exhaling, shoulders relaxing, 2. Just a quick little stretch, aiming to open up hamstrings. 1 more deep breath in. And from there, we're going to inhale, reach up tall, lift up, and take a little twist. Left hand is coming to right knee, right hand is coming behind you. Thinking about inhaling, lifting up, stretching up, holding that little twist for 3. So long spine, shoulders are relaxing, squeezing in the core, 2. 1 more inhale. And exhale, returning back through center. Left leg is coming in, right foot is coming out, squeezing in the core, shimmying back onto the sit bones. Inhale, reaching up, angling the body forwards. And once again, we're taking that little stretch. So we're thinking about rotating the body, squeezing in the core. Think about this right quad engaging once again. So that's going to help when we contract the quad, that lengthens the hamstring. Inhale and exhale, start to gently creep forwards. Focusing on finding length in the back body. Deep inhales. Exhales. Nice job. So just find that little stretch. That moment of release for 3. Inhaling. Exhaling. 2. One more deep breath in. And down. From there, roll on up. Inhale, lift tall, and exhale, take a little twist. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Thinking about that long spine, reaching up with the chest, and start to twist into that space for 3. Deep breaths in. And out, 2. One more, inhale. And exhale, return back through center. Nice job. From here, we're going to take a reverse table or reverse table L sit. So planting the hands behind you, fingertips are facing forwards, feet are facing forwards. Make sure the feet aren't too close to the bum. The further you take them away, that's going to give you a little bit more space. So start off with the feet fairly far away from the knees. And then from there, we can squeeze, press on up, squeeze the glutes. Find that power, opening up through the chest, a little lower. And then powerful squeeze and lift, pressing on up. So reverse table, we're thinking about working, strengthening the back body. So squeeze to lift, really focus on that power at the top and lower with control. So try not to drop the hips, but feel that lower. If you want to take this further, we are going to swing the hips back between the hands into an L sit and then squeeze, power on up. So in an L sit, we're really focusing on that strength in the core. We're rocking back, the bum stays off the mat, you're using the abs to stay lifted, pressing really hard with the hands into the mat, and then rolling on up again. So that's our L sit. If you just want to rock on with those reverse tables, feel free. Working here for 5, squeeze, 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 and power on up. 4, moving with control. 3, nice job, power, 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 squeeze at the top. 2. And 1, lift, 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 and lower. Great job. So dropping the sit bones down there, and we're going to work into our saw exercise. So taking the legs out wide here. So nice movement. I'm just going to turn around on the mat a bit so you can see. So we're moving into our saw exercise. So if you need to sit up on a brick or roll up the back of your mat here, feel free. If you need to, you can also just bring the soles of the feet together here. So we want to find a position where we can keep the spine lifted. So it might be, I quite like to actively lift up my butt, shimmy forwards, and want to find long spine, sit bones, grounded, spine long. From there, we're taking the hands out wide, crown of the head tall, inhaling, and exhale. We're going to reach over with one hand to one foot, other hand comes out behind it. Inhale, lift, 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 and twist. So inhale, squeeze the core, lift up through center, and then twist and rotate. So the idea here is we're engaging the core, we're finding a lift, and then we're going to rotate, reach around for the opposite foot. So we're working the abdominals here. So it's a mobilization exercise, but also about strength. So inhale as you reach up through center, exhale to twist strong through the core. Thinking about lifting up, stretching up, make sure those quads are engaged, and rotate, stretching around. So inhale, lift, 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 and rotate. Nice job. So working here for 5. Slow and controlled. Squeeze and rotate. 4. Lifting up through center. Stretch and twist. So we're working on dynamic flexibility as well. 3. Nice job. 2. One more. This little lift and twist. Perfect. Come back through center there. Plant both feet down. And we're going to move into our little crunch segment. So planting the feet down, the palms are on the knees, squeezing in the core. Again, just you might want to find a fairly big distance between the hips and the heels to start with. The closer the heels are, the harder this is going to be. So taking the hands to the knees, we're going to take chin to chest, we're going to squeeze the core, roll down like we're doing the bottom of a sit-up, and then squeeze the core, power on up, shoulders down the back, lifting up through center. So slow and controlled, we're squeezing the core, so we ripple down, and then power on up, lift up, chest is opening, shoulders down the back. Option to stay there, Option to lift the hands up, and we're going to take the same movement without the support of the hands, and we're just coming down, making sure your feet stay grounded, and then coming on up. As I said, if you want to make this harder, you're just going to draw the heels closer in towards the bum, and then you're rolling down, and it's a lot harder to hold, so you've got that bigger angle, and you're rolling down, squeezing in the core, lifting on up, thinking about that chest staying lifted, thinking about finding that vertebra by vertebra movement, so noticing that slow controlled lower and that strong lift. Great job. Working here for another 3. So we're working the top half of a sit-up essentially. Really important to work this slowly. We're aiming to find that point of control and squeeze. So feel it's the abdominals controlling this movement too. Nice job. A little lower. And lift. And 1. Roll all the way down to lie on your back there. So we're rolling all the way down to lie on our backs. And we're going to give ourselves a little squeeze there, a little stretch. And from there, planting the soles of the feet down on the floor, taking the arms out wide, and just give the legs a little windscreen wiper from side to side. So nice little twist through the spine, just a little bit of neutralization there. Wiggling out for 3, 2, and 1. From there, give yourself a big old squeeze in, a little hug in, and then planting the hands down on the floor. The heels are in towards the bum, the knees are going to be in towards the chest. From there, we're going to squeeze the core, lift the pelvis off the mat, and then slow lower down again. So it's a little pelvic roll, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze of the abs, lift, slow lower. So we're thinking about engaging the core. It's that strength of the core that's doing the lifting here. So feel like the top of the ribs is moving towards the lower rib cage. So it's all about that squeeze to lift and lower. If you'd like to take it further, we're going to squeeze the core. At the top then we're just going to extend the legs and we can lower back down. Heels in towards the bum, squeeze the core, lift the pelvis off the mat, legs in the air, slowly return back down to that extended lever length, making it a little bit harder. If you want to make it harder again, heels are in towards the bum, you're squeezing. When the pelvis is lifted, the legs come into the air, and then we're going to slowly lower both legs all the way down, and then return back through center. So squeezing in the core, lifting up, slow, 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 lower down. So that's our option 3, a little bit stronger. Make sure the lower back is staying on the floor. So remember, when you are lowering your legs, you want the lower back to stay on the floor, so you're working the abdominals, not straining the back. Nice job. Working here for 5, so slow, controlled movements. Well done. 4, getting into the lower abs. 3, squeeze into lift, extend, and lower. 2, and 1. Give yourself a little squeeze there, little stretching. And then we're going to put all that together. So planting the feet down on the mat, we're going to work into a roll up, a sit up, or a roll over. So remember, you can stay with those pelvic rolls if those are better for you. If you know you don't like to do sit ups, if you're ready to take a sit up type movement, we're going to take the palms to the thighs, back of the neck long, chin to chest first, squeezing in the abdominals. So that squeeze of the abdominals lifts the shoulders off the mat, and then you're slowly lowering down again. So think about this just being an engagement of the core. That is what we're working. We're not pulling the neck, we're squeezing the core. Similar to those last 2 exercises, we're finding that really strong strength that comes from abdominal contraction, and we're using it to lift the shoulders off the mat. Option to stay there, option to extend your legs out long on the mat, hands come out over the head, engage the core, chin to chest, and we're squeezing, lifting up at the top, reaching up, and then we're going to stretch forwards. Nice little forward fold, and then we're rolling down again with control. Slow, 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 slow. Hands over the head. So thinking about keeping those feet flexed, try and keep the feet down on the floor, and we're working on sequential control. So feel that lift at the top, and you're getting that nice forward fold at the top of the movement. Option to stay there. Option if you want to take it further, you're bending the knees, feet are staying grounded, we're squeezing up, reaching up, and then alone with control. So think about that exercise where we practice the top half of the movement. You want to find loads of control on the way down. You're getting so much work there. You're using the abdominals to resist gravity as you lower the whole weight of the torso. So you're getting loads of work on the way up and on the way down. Try and make both parts of it controlled and slow. So squeeze in the core, chin is to chest, head is the last thing to come down, and the first thing to come up to avoid straining the neck. We're thinking about power, 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 and that lift, and lower. Great job, we're almost there. Taking one more, we're going to move into some side body after this. Lifting up, squeezing at the top, and lowering all the way down with control. Nice job. From here, we're going to roll over onto the side, and we're just going to work a little bit of the side lying leg series. So remember, you've got hip above hip. You can bend that bottom leg if you need to. You can plant a pillow underneath. If you find you've got a bony hip and you tend to wiggle about, just put a pillow underneath that hip. Hand on the head, and from there we are going to lift up the top foot, and we're going to start off with little circles today. So I want you to look down the length of your leg and imagine you're drawing the same circle every time. If there's something you can usefully use as a little guide, you want to really extend. So pointing those toes is going to help engage the muscles of the leg. We're working really slow and controlled. Just thinking about that strength. What we're aiming for is to start to find a nice juicy burn on the upper leg. We're keeping the core engaged, remembering to breathe. Nice job. So we're thinking about finding length there, working there for 5. So really slow and controlled. Tiny little movements. When we work with control, with precision here, that's when we really start to activate those muscles. 3, 2, and change direction. So drawing that tiny little circle in the other way. We're thinking about pointing out with those toes. We're thinking about moving with control. Should start to feel a nice juicy burn at the top of the leg. We're aiming to get into the inner and outer thigh, and particularly into those outer glute muscles, which are so important for knee health. Working here another 3. Keep that core engaged. 2 and 1. All right, that top foot's going to hover. The bottom foot's going to come up to meet it. So we're going to lower the bottom foot and then lift it. So we're thinking about getting a bit of work into side body. Again, we're working the outer glutes. Really keep that top foot extended. Keep the core engaged. We're lowering and lifting. Working here for just 3. So slow, lift and lower. 2. Nice job. And 1. Both toes are pointed. We're going to both lower both legs and then squeeze, lift both up. If you want to stay with the last exercise, feel free. We're working here if you can. You should feel a nice bit of work for the waist, for the side body here as well. Squeezing in the core. Again, we do a lot of work on the front and the back bodies. Sometimes it's really important to give a little more attention to the side body, get all of our muscles in balance. Working here for another 3. So slow, controlled, squeezy lift and lower. 2. Nice job. 1 more. And release there. All right, just roll over or spin around so you're finding your way onto your other side. And we're just going to take that all on our second side. So as before, you're setting yourself up. Make sure you're stable. If you need a pillow, if you need to bend that bottom leg, do feel free. Make sure you feel super comfortable. And then you're going to point the top toe, hover it, and we're just drawing tiny little circles. So once again, tiny little circles. Look down the length of your leg. Make sure you're really engaging the muscles of that leg. Slow and controlled. Keeping the core engaged. Moving with control. So imagining you're drawing the same little circle every time. No prizes for speed. You'll get the best results here by being as slow and as accurate as you can. Perfect. Working here for another 8. So slow and control. Really point. Feel the activity through the legs. 7. Deep breaths in and out. 6. Squeeze. 5. Well done. So slow, controlled. 4. 3. Pointing those toes. 2. And 1. Changing direction. So first pointing the toes, squeezing in the core. Little circles, changing your direction from 10. 9, so really pointing. 8. 7. So pointing those toes, extending that leg. 6. Almost there. 5. Working slowly, smoothly with control. 4. 3. 2. And 1. So from there we're going to point the top toes. The bottom foot's going to come up to meet it, and we're just going to lower and lift that bottom foot. So working into the side body. We're thinking about maintaining that energy through the leg. Working here not too long. Squeeze, working to side body. Another 3. Almost there. 2. And 1. From there we're going to lower both legs and squeeze, lift both legs, keeping the core engaged. Moving up and down with control. Perfect. So squeeze, working into the side body. We're lowering and lifting for 5. So strong through the core. 4, lifting up, working into the side body, keeping that control, keeping the core engaged. 3, well done. 2, 1 more if you can. Squeeze, working to the outer glute, the side body, and release there. From there, we're just going to spin all the way back around, plant both feet down, and roll down onto our back. So final little movements. We're going to take the left ankle onto the right knee, and it might be that that's enough for you there, or you can take the hands around the back of the thigh or around the back of the shin, stretching in there, finding that lovely stretch right down through the back of the left leg. Inhaling and exhaling, so the shoulders stay relaxed, back of the neck is long, stretching in there for 3 deep breaths in and so lovely deep stretch through the back of that left leg. Inhaling, exhaling, 2, just releasing, 1 more deep breath in and out, swapping over. So we take opposite ankle to knee and hugging on in. So we're aiming to find that stretch that comes right down through the back of the glute, round the back of the side of the leg. Open up through the psoas, piriformis, get into those glute muscles. We worked really hard on the lower body, just finding that little stretch there. Working here for 3, inhaling, exhaling, 2, 1 more really deep breath in and from there, releasing, give yourself a little squeeze, a little stretch. From there, lower back on the floor, knees over the hips, hands come behind the back of the head, chin is into chest. Inhale and exhale, take opposite elbow to knee, squeezing in the core, lower back on the floor, inhaling and exhale, squeeze, taking that twist and that crunch. So chin to chest, inhaling and exhale, working into that twist through the side body, lifting and twist, rotate. Perfect. Working here with control for 5. Inhaling. Exhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Twist and cross. 4. Thinking about chin to chest. Lower back on the floor. 3. 2. And 1. Release. Taking the arms out wide. Shoulders are on the back. Starting off with heels in towards the bum. We didn't take a little dynamic twist. So lowering the legs to one side. Squeezing the core. Lifting up through center. Lowering the legs to the other side. Option, stay there. Option, take calves away from the thighs, shoulders are relaxed. We're slowly lowering the legs to one side, squeezing in the abdominals really hard, and lowering to the other side, keeping the shoulders down on the mat as we go, only lowering the legs as far as you can. Option to stay there, option to extend the legs fully up into the sky, and we're taking a slow lower to one side, keeping the shoulders on the mat, squeezing in the core, lift, lift, lift through center, and slow, slow, slow lower to the other side. So working into the side body, back of the neck is long, shoulders are relaxed, so working here, working to the side body, into the lower abs for 5, squeezing in the core, shoulders are staying relaxed, 4, well done. So focus on that engagement through the abs, lifting up through center, 3, shoulders are staying down, 2, and 1, come up through center there, give yourself a little squeeze. Nice job. So final little exercise here. We are going to take the knees over the hips, the lower back on the floor. Option to stay there, option to extend out with the legs, option to bring chin to chest. That can either be with the knees bent or the shoulders off the mat. Option to take the hands over the head, option to stay there, or option to have a little rock and roll. So we're either holding that static pose, you can beat the arms, you can extend the legs, you can hold a hollow body hold, or you can take a little rock and roll, squeezing in the core. Nice job. Really fiery little exercise. So wherever we are, we've got the core engaged. If you've got the legs out in front of you and just holding, remember the lower back stays on the floor. If you work on this rock and roll, you want to really focus on that sense of strength. So you're contracting the abdominals, and it's that contraction of the abdominals that is holding and stabilizing that hollow body position. Nice job. Working here for just another 8. Almost there. 7. We can do this. 6. Strong, strong, strong. Chin to chest. 5. 4. Well done. 3. 2. And, oh, gosh. 1, give yourself a little hug in. Nice job. Little squeeze, little stretch. And from there, extend the left leg out long on the mat, hug in with the right knee. Take the left hand to the right knee and drawing the right knee across the body, extending out with the right arm, stretching out, finding that lovely twist. So the left hand and the right hand move, the right knee and the right hand move long away from each other, stretching out, inhaling. And exhale, let that right shoulder relax down. Deep breaths in. And out for 3, inhaling. Exhaling. 2. 1 more, inhale. And exhale. Coming back through center there, extending out long with your right leg, hugging in with your left, and taking that little twist. So we're taking the left knee across the body, the left arm away, moving them long away from each other, stretching out and releasing. So we're releasing, mobilizing through the lower back, stretching out through the side body, finding that little stretch to the left side of the chest as well. Deep breaths in and out for 3, inhaling. Exhaling, 2. 1 more deep breath in and out. Coming back through center there, give yourself a little squeeze, a little stretch, and take a happy baby. So peace sign fingers around the big toes, knees in towards the armpits, thinking about pressing the whole of the lower back down towards the floor. Back of the neck is long, stretching out, inhaling, and exhaling. So shoulders relaxing, spine extending for 3, inhaling, exhale. Shoulders releasing down, stretching out, 2. Taking 1 more really deep, full breath in and out. And from there, just going to give yourself a fun little squeeze and rock and roll your way all the way back up to seated. Awesome job. So finding your way back up to seated, sit bones are grounding, spine of the head long. I'm just going to interlock the hands, stretch up to the sky, take a lovely big full yawn, inhaling, exhaling. Chin to chest, press the backs of the hands towards you, stretching out, so shoulders down, feeling shoulder blades move apart, stretching out through the upper back, deep breath in. And out. And finally pressing the chest forward, opening out through the heart, stretching out, taking a deep full breath in. And release there. Give yourself a little shimmy, a little shake out. And thanks all so much for joining. Well done everybody at home. And I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.